Capricorn, you didn't land here by accident. This is your divine interruption point. The very breath of the universe guided you to this exact moment because something is about to shift in your life. What you do in this instant determines how quickly your next reality unfolds. Don't scroll, don't skip, because if you're hearing this, you're standing at a door you can't see yet. Comment, I claim my shift, right now, and seal your energy into alignment with what's waiting for you. I'm telling you, this isn't coincidence. This is your confirmation. The wind has changed direction, and your name is in the current. You felt it lately, that restless pull that wakes you up in the middle of the night. The silence that doesn't feel empty anymore, but heavy, alive, almost whispering. Capricorn, that's the sound of destiny packing outside your door. You've been the silent builder, the one who works when no one claps, the one who plans while others play. You've been misunderstood because your vision doesn't speak loudly, it reveals itself quietly, one manifestation at a time. And yet lately, something in you feels like it's holding its breath, waiting. This isn't anxiety. This is alignment catching up to your effort. The mountain you've been climbing has started to move beneath your feet. Think about Steve Jobs, a visionary fired from his own company, humiliated, left wandering without purpose. The world saw failure, but destiny saw an architect being recalibrated. That fall wasn't destruction, it was redirection. He returned to Apple with fire in his veins and created the iPhone, the tool that reshaped human communication. Capricorn, this is what's happening to you. You were thrown down not to be broken, but to be reborn sharper. The delay wasn't punishment, it was divine perfection. Every Capricorn has a sacred moment when the universe interrupts their rhythm, a divine pause that feels like chaos. You've had plans crumble, people ghost you, deals vanish. But the truth is, those weren't coincidences. That was God, fate, or whatever name you choose for the divine, stepping into your timeline to rearrange the scenery. When Joseph was thrown into the pit by his brothers, it looked like betrayal, but heaven saw promotion. That pit was his passport to the palace. Capricorn, that's what's happening behind your losses, a setup disguised as separation. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. Every great destiny begins with a divine interruption. Think about Oprah Winfrey, fired from her first television job, told she was unfit for TV. That interruption birthed the Oprah Winfrey Show, one of the most successful programs in history. She didn't fight the rejection, she used it. That's what I need you to understand. Every no you've heard lately is a coded, not yet. Every delay is a door being polished behind the scenes. You think you're losing momentum, but heaven is calibrating your next leap. And maybe that's why you've been feeling urgency, a strange kind of restlessness you can't explain. You're not tired, your soul is just impatient for alignment. You've been moving through what I call divine agitation, the moment the universe shakes you awake. Capricorn, that pounding in your chest, that sudden anxiety before change, it isn't fear. It's your higher self knocking, saying, it's time. Do you know what happens before every Capricorn breakthrough? Confusion, the kind that makes you question your own effort. You look around and nothing adds up, friends fade, money slows, projects stall. That's not bad luck. That's divine energy making room. Think about Rome. The great empire didn't collapse because of weakness, it crumbled so civilization could evolve. You are Rome right now, Capricorn. Your structures are breaking because your spirit is rebuilding. Let me tell you something, the pattern of avoidance is the greatest thief of Capricorn destiny. You've mastered endurance, you've mastered control, but sometimes you resist surrender. You think if you just work harder, push longer, you'll win. But destiny doesn't respond to force, it responds to flow. Elon Musk, a man who slept in his factory, once said his biggest lesson was learning to trust the system he built. He had to let go to let Tesla grow. Capricorn, that's your message too. You've built the foundation. Now let the divine take over the construction. You keep asking, why do I feel stuck? But maybe it's not stuckness, maybe it's sacred stillness. The universe pauses you not to frustrate you, but to test if you can trust. When you ignore the pause, you delay the promise. The mountain doesn't stop to punish you, it stops to see if you'll rest before it blesses you. I know you've been through seasons where silence felt cruel. You prayed and heard nothing. You tried and doors stayed shut. But hear me, even silence has sound. Before Moses saw the burning bush, he spent 40 years alone in the desert. 40 years of quiet before one moment of fire. Capricorn, you're in that in-between, the holy pause between chapters. It's uncomfortable because it's sacred. You're standing at the veil where your old life dissolves and the new one forms in the unseen. Listen when everything familiar starts to fade. Don't chase what's leaving. That's the universe uninstalling old versions of you, the friends who don't call back, the job that feels lifeless, the plan that keeps failing. All of it is being replaced. You can't take what's expired into what's eternal. You've probably noticed patterns repeating, people from your past reaching out, old opportunities resurfacing, or sudden memories flooding your mind. That's not nostalgia. That's your soul revisiting what it must release. The old timeline is giving you a final handshake before it disappears. And just when you start thinking nothing is working, something invisible begins to rearrange. This is the moment when destiny watches to see your next move. Will you panic, or will you pause and listen? Because, Capricorn, the wind is whispering your instructions. I want you to think of J.K. Rowling, rejected by 12 publishers, broke and raising a child alone. Everyone told her to quit, but she held to the vision that wouldn't let go of her. That's Capricorn energy, disciplined faith. And when the world finally caught up, Harry Potter became a phenomenon. Rock Bottom became her solid foundation. That's not fantasy, that's divine choreography. Your divine interruption doesn't always announce itself with fireworks. Sometimes it comes disguised as rejection, heartbreak, or confusion, but each closed door is an initiation into something higher. Capricorn, your old self is dying because the new one is already waiting on the next mountain. I know it's been heavy, the burden of patience, the ache of delayed reward, but the stars have been whispering your name for months now. You've outgrown the vibrations of your last season. You're not losing things. You're shedding them. Do you know what the universe does right before it shifts someone into their blessing? It brings them face to face with stillness so loud they can hear their purpose breathe. That's where you are. Your urgency is not chaos. It's the alarm clock of destiny. The storm you've been fighting is not to break you. It's to prove you can command the wind. Comment "I claim my shift" below if this message has touched something deep in your spirit, not because of superstition, but because declaration is manifestation. When you type those words, you're not just commenting, you're contracting with destiny. You're saying, "I'm ready." And when you say it, the universe listens. I know what you're wondering. When will it happen? How will I know the shift has arrived? The truth is, it already started. It began the day everything familiar stopped making sense. The day your spirit said, "I can't keep doing this." The divine interruption doesn't show up with clarity first. It brings confusion so deep you have no choice but to evolve. Think about this. In every great story, the main character faces a breaking point before transformation. David was anointed as king, but sent back to tend sheep. Can you imagine being promised a throne and still waking up to feed sheep every morning? That's how divine timing works. It anoints you before it announces you. Capricorn, you've been anointed in private. The world just hasn't received the announcement yet. That's why the isolation has been so painful. It's training for influence. You can't carry global energy with local endurance. The solitude you hate is teaching you spiritual stamina. You've been feeling tired for no reason. That's because your energy is recalibrating. You're no longer in survival mode. Your system is switching to creation mode. And that's why certain people can't access you anymore. They vibrate at an old frequency that no longer matches your new field. Capricorn, if you could see what's being prepared behind the veil, you'd stop worrying. Your breakthrough isn't coming from effort. It's coming from obedience. You've done enough. Now it's time to align. There's a pattern I've noticed with Capricorns right before elevation, the sudden craving for simplicity, the desire to let go of clutter, to detach from drama, to walk away from chaos without guilt. That's not boredom, it's rebirth. The higher you climb, the quieter the air becomes. Have you noticed how your priorities have shifted? Things that once excited you now exhaust you. Conversations that used to entertain now irritate. It's not that you've changed, it's that your frequency has risen. Your soul is editing your life. Every Capricorn at this stage faces a test. Can you trust divine timing when it no longer matches your logic? That's the hardest part. You can't control this next chapter, you can only cooperate. But here's the prophecy. When this alignment completes, everything that felt impossible will unfold in rapid succession. Doors that were welded shut will swing open without you touching them. Conversations will lead to connections that change everything. You won't have to chase, you'll attract. Because Capricorn, your energy has matured into magnetism. You've passed the test of endurance, and now you're being handed the reward of effortless manifestation. But it doesn't come without faith. You have to stop treating waiting like punishment. It's preparation. Every delay carries data. Every pause carries purpose. You've been asking for acceleration, but acceleration without alignment leads to destruction. That's why heaven slowed you down, to save you from premature elevation. The biggest secret I can tell you, the mountain you've been climbing isn't outside you, it's inside you. And now, the summit is shifting from effort to embodiment. Somewhere deep down, you already know this message is not just for entertainment, it's confirmation. Because too many things lately have been aligning in impossible ways. The song on the radio, the number on the clock, the feeling that someone's talking directly to your soul. That's not random. That's your angels sending signals, trying to make sure you don't miss your moment. When Jim Carrey wrote himself a $10 million check long before fame, he was practicing future reality. He carried it in his wallet until the day he was paid that exact amount for Dumb and Dumber. That's how spiritual manifestation works. You speak, believe, and then watch the universe rearrange matter to match your words. So say it with me, I claim my shift. Say it out loud, because your voice carries vibration, and vibration creates reality. You're not begging the universe, you're instructing it. This moment you're in, the sleepless nights, the emotional roller coasters, the inexplicable peace in chaos, it's all the signature of transformation. You're stepping into a reality that your old self cannot survive. The world is about to see a version of you that even you haven't met yet. And the craziest part, you won't need validation. You'll just walk differently, speak differently, attract differently. Because when the divine interruption finishes its work, identity shifts naturally. Something within you already knows, the wind that used to push against you is now about to carry you. You've reached that invisible point where resistance turns into release. And though everything around you looks still, the realm of spirit is in full motion, rearranging the script of your life. Don't underestimate this moment. You are being written into a new timeline where effort meets grace. The kind where you no longer chase, you command. Where you no longer doubt, you discern. Where you no longer fear loss, because you've learned that anything that leaves only clears space for what's meant to arrive. Capricorn, destiny is no longer far away. It's leaning toward you. And if you close your eyes right now, you'll feel it, the shift in the air, the whisper in your spirit, the subtle vibration under your skin. This isn't the end of your climb, it's the transformation of your altitude. Something ancient and powerful is about to unfold. The stars are realigning, the ground beneath you is rewriting its promise, and before this season closes, something is going to answer the call you've been whispering into the night. Capricorn, I need you to stop what you're doing and breathe, because what's about to be revealed is not coincidence. You didn't click this by mistake. This is your divine interruption point, the moment your spirit finally catches up with your destiny. What you do right now determines how fast your next reality unfolds. Don't scroll, don't skip. This is the confirmation your soul has been craving. If your heart is racing right now, if something inside you feels like this message is speaking directly to you, it's because it is. Comment, I claim my shift, below and claim your alignment, because the moment you speak it, the energy begins to move. Lately, your spirit has been restless. You feel pulled between two worlds, the old you, heavy with duty and scars, and the new you, whispering through signs and dreams. The reason you've been feeling this tension is because heaven has changed your frequency. The things that used to satisfy you now feel too small. The spaces that once made you feel safe now feel suffocating. This isn't confusion, this is expansion. The universe is making sure you don't shrink back into what you've already outgrown. Capricorn, destiny has always favored you because of your endurance. You are the mountain climber of the zodiac, the one who doesn't give up when everyone else collapses. But even the strongest mountain must shift when the wind of God changes direction. You're not climbing anymore, you're being carried. The only thing standing between you and your next season is disbelief. You keep doubting that something this big could be meant for you. But if you knew what was written about your name, you would stop apologizing for being chosen. Do you remember Steve Jobs' story? A man who built his dream, lost it, and came back to revolutionize the world. When he was fired from Apple, everyone thought it was over. But what looked like failure was a divine redirection. If he hadn't fallen, he wouldn't have been hungry again. Capricorn, that's what's happening to you. The loss you thought would destroy you is the fuel that will crown you. There's something extraordinary growing in the soil of your disappointment. It's strange how the universe teaches. You asked for clarity and instead you got silence. You prayed for breakthrough and instead you got endings. But endings are never empty, they are transitions wearing disguise. Joseph was thrown into a pit by his own brothers, betrayed and forgotten, yet that pit was a passage to the palace. He didn't know it then, but his delay was sacred. Capricorn, your pit is not your prison, it's your portal. The reason your timeline feels frozen is because heaven pressed pause. It's not punishment, it's precision. Your soul is being synchronized with opportunities that don't exist yet. You're being timed for an alignment that must be perfect. Every rejection lately, every person who left without explanation, every door that closed without reason, all of it was choreography. You're not being delayed, you're being positioned. Sometimes destiny hides in discomfort. Think about Oprah Winfrey, fired from her first television job because she was fit for TV. That interruption was her initiation. She went on to become one of the most influential women on earth. Her delay was a divine edit, not a denial. That's your story too, Capricorn. You thought you were behind schedule, but you were just being edited for perfection. Have you noticed how lately time feels different for you? It's like you're moving slower, but everything around you is accelerating. That's because the universe is stretching your perception. You're being taught to stop running after what's already yours. You've been chasing outcomes that are already written. That's why it's not working, because your job now isn't to force, it's to flow. Capricorn, you carry an ancient vibration, the frequency of builders, rulers, and prophets, but even prophets need silence before revelation. Moses wandered the desert for 40 years before hearing the voice that changed everything. That silence wasn't emptiness, it was incubation. You've been in that same silence, thinking you're lost. But what if you're not lost? What if you're being located? Every night your mind races with ideas, plans, fears. You feel an invisible clock ticking. But let me tell you something, divine timing doesn't care about clocks. You're on schedule in dimensions you can't see. The universe isn't late, it's deliberate. And that's why you've been seeing synchronicities, repeating numbers, songs, dreams that replay scenes from your past. Those aren't random, they're coordinates. They're the universe marking your path, saying, you're closer than you think. When you see 111, 222, 333, it's not superstition. It's the cosmos reminding you to wake up and receive instruction. Jim Carrey once wrote himself a check for $10 million when he was broke and unknown. He dated it for 5 years later. Every day, he visualized himself receiving it. Years later, he got that exact amount for Dumb and Dumber. That's manifestation in motion, belief pulling the future into the present. Capricorn, your manifestation isn't waiting for proof. It's waiting for permission. Speak it, feel it, live it before it appears. You've been trained to work for everything, to earn every inch of progress. But this next phase isn't about hard work, it's about aligned work. The reason you're tired is because you're weak. It's because you've been climbing a mountain that's no longer yours. It's time to shift direction. The universe doesn't reward exhaustion, it rewards obedience. I know you've been asking why everything familiar is falling apart. Relationships fading, money feeling unstable, plans dissolving. It's not destruction, it's demolition, the removal of walls that no longer serve your expansion. You can't enter a new reality while holding onto expired energy. What's being taken is clearing space for what's promised. You may not believe it yet, but right now, someone is speaking your name in rooms you've never entered. An opportunity is being prepared that matches your vibration exactly. You don't have to chase it. You have to become it. Destiny doesn't meet you halfway, it meets you where you align. The stillness you hate is sacred. It's in that stillness that the blueprint downloads. Every Capricorn breakthrough begins in isolation, because when the noise dies, truth speaks. When the crowd leaves, clarity enters. You're being separated not for punishment, but for revelation. J.K. Rowling sat in a cafe, broke, divorced, raising her child alone. She had nothing left but a story in her head and faith in her heart. She wrote anyway. Every rejection letter was another test of alignment. But when her time came, the world bent to her words. The girl who had nothing became one of the most powerful storytellers alive. Capricorn, that same current runs through you. The same energy that lifted her from nothing is waiting for your yes. You've survived storms that others would have drowned in. You've been strong for too long, but strength is what's needed next. Surrender is. You can't carry your blessing like a burden. You must receive it like a revelation. You've been climbing mountains, but now the mountain is about to bow. You've proven discipline, now you'll experience divine ease. The universe has been watching your consistency, your patience, your quiet endurance, and it's ready to repay you in acceleration. But it won't come the way you expect. It never does. It will arrive disguised as a risk, an unexpected invitation, a whisper in your spirit, a gut feeling that says, move now. You'll know it's divine because it won't make logical sense, but it will bring peace. Capricorn, this is your season of reversal. The things that used to work against you will start working for you. People who overlooked you will start remembering your name. Even closed doors will swing back open. This is what I call the divine echo, when heaven repeats your name so loudly that opportunities can't ignore it. But you must stay awake. You can't sleep through this alignment. Every decision right now carries frequency. What you say, think, and believe will echo into your timeline. The universe is literal, it mirrors your emotion. If you expect loss, you'll lose. If you expect miracles, you'll attract them. There's something magnetic about the energy you're stepping into. It's as if heaven finally turned your frequency up. You'll notice people drawn to you for no reason, conversations leading to divine connections, and ideas flooding your mind at midnight. These aren't random. These are downloads, instructions for your next dimension. Say it again, I claim MY shift. Say it because your words create waves. You're not asking for change, you're commanding it. Your voice is a password to your next reality. And here's the truth very few know, your life is already written, but you have the pen for the next paragraph. Every thought is ink. Every declaration is design. When you believe, the universe rearranges itself to reflect your conviction. That's why the resistance has been so strong. The closer you get to breakthrough, the louder the distractions become. The enemy of progress is confusion, but the antidote is faith. Don't let temporary discomfort convince you that destiny forgot your name. It hasn't. It's spelling it out in lights. Have you noticed how quiet your life has become? How certain people can't access you anymore? That's not loneliness, that's insulation. You're being wrapped for launch. Rockets aren't built in crowds, they're built in silence. The countdown you hear is not fear, it's preparation. There's an old saying, the darkest hour is right before dawn. But what no one tells you is that in the darkness, your eyes adjust. You start seeing differently. That's what's happening to you, Capricorn. You're starting to see in the dark. You're starting to trust what you can't explain. When David was anointed king, he didn't get the crown that day. He went back to tending sheep. It didn't make sense. Why would a future king still be in the field? But destiny doesn't rush revelation, it matures it. Capricorn, you've been anointed privately. The world just hasn't been notified. That's why your current reality doesn't match your potential yet, because the announcement is still loading. But when it drops, everything will change at once. Do you feel that? The way your body reacts when you hear truth? The chills, the pulse, the deep knowing that this isn't just another message. That's energy recognition, your higher self confirming, yes, this is it. You've been wondering if you should keep going or give up. The signs are all around you, random moments of peace in the middle of chaos, strangers speaking words you needed to hear, dreams that feel prophetic. The universe is leaving breadcrumbs so you don't lose your way. When the shift hits, it won't be subtle. It will be unmistakable. You'll wake up one day and realize that everything that once drained you now drives you. The same people who doubted you will ask for your wisdom, and the weight you've carried for years will suddenly lift, not because life got easier, but because your spirit got lighter. And that's when you'll understand the secret of the mountain. It was never about climbing it. It was about becoming it. You are the stability you've been searching for. You are the structure that holds the dream. Capricorn, I can feel it. You're on the verge of your unveiling. The energy around you is shifting, tightening, preparing for explosion. You're standing in the last seconds of the old season, and the new one is about to ignite. This is your divine interruption, the point where endings and beginnings blur into destiny. Don't look for a sign, you are the sign. Don't wait for permission, you are the permission. And as the air changes around you, remember, the mountain you feared is bowing in your direction. Something ancient has recognized you. Something vast is whispering your name. And before this night ends, something unseen will answer back.